Okay, so another important measure is frequency, and we can find frequency and create a frequency distribution table using pivot tables. So the first thing you're going to do is go to Insert, and on the left-hand side we have a pivot table. So we're going to select our pivot table from a range of data. So I'm going to just select all of our data to show how you can customize this pivot table to really show you what you want. And so then you can say the location where you want this to output, and then hit OK. So now we have our pivot table, and these are the different ways that you can set up your table. So let's say I want to find the frequency of number of pregnancies. I can then drag this pregnancy table or column into the row section, and this is going to show our entire range of number of pregnancies in our data set. So then, in particular, we want to say how many times each number showed up in the data set. So to do that, you can just grab any variable, but I'm going to grab subject ID and put it into value. And this automatically is going to calculate the sum of the subject ID, which is not what we want. So to do that, you're going to hit on sum of subject ID and then hit value field settings. And this is going to give us different ways we can summarize the value field by. So there's many different ways you can do that, but I'm interested in count because that's going to give us the frequency of each data point. So now you can see that we have the number of times in the data set a participant had 0 pregnancies. So basically the number of participants who had 0 pregnancies was 2. And so that shows up for each of our values. And you can change these to display what you want. So you can say number of pregnancies here, and then you can say frequency here. So you can also change this to add another column, which can be used to calculate our percentage. So if you just add subject ID again, we can again change our value to count, but instead of just showing the count, we can show it as a different value. So if we want the percentage that this data point shows up in your distribution, you would just hit % grand total and hit OK. And we can again change that to include percentage. So now we essentially have a frequency distribution table for a number of pregnancies. So you can see on this column we have the number of pregnancies, how many times it shows up, and the percentage of that across the whole data set. And so you can do that with each of your different columns.